Hey, TikTok, it's time to rock. My name is Andrew, everybody. You know who I am. I am part of the 5150 show, and it is my pleasure. If you guys aren't aware of this person that's sitting next to me, I'll put his link of his channel up for you guys to follow. But if you aren't aware of who Guitar Hack is, he is a great friend of the channel. We've been hanging out with each other. We've been friends on social media, Hack, for 3, maybe 4 years. Certainly time flies, bro.
Yeah, man. At least that. Yeah.
We were reminiscing, everybody, about the bad old days when Google Hangouts was the format that a lot of us were using back then, and Google Hangouts had its issues and its faults and its problems, but StreamYard certainly Hack makes podcasting and streaming a lot easier, doesn't it, bro?
Oh man, it's a blessing. Yeah, when Google Hangout, and then remember, YouTube kept making it harder and harder to stream. They said, well, you had to have like 1,000 subscribers, and then all this other baloney. They just made it more and more difficult, and then yeah. But yeah, StreamYards has been an absolute blessing. I mean, I like yourself. I have a subscription to StreamYards, and yeah, I mean, I don't do nearly as many shows as I used to. I used to do weekly shows, which that became a little overwhelming. But the 2 or 3 shows I do a month, StreamYards is just beautiful, just fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. Look, guys. Most of the cats in the chat will be familiar with you. There's some great comments. Everyone knows you. But if you guys are watching the replay and you don't know who Hack is, please go and check out his channel. He's got some awesome stuff up there. In fact, I'll put a specific video in relation to Led Zeppelin that he did with some of his co-hosts a while ago for you guys to go and check out. But yeah, when we had 50 or 60 subscribers, we did a show with, I was on Hack's show, and Hack came and did a show with the Rock Professor and I when we were talking about the Beano tone and stuff like that. So we've been, yeah.
I think I played guitar on that show, and I was trying to duplicate the sound. Now,
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I try to get the straight tone. Yeah.
Well, we'll put a link to that show too for people, to watch and see the progress that both our channels have made. But look, I've got to make it very clear to everybody. Our channel never forgets the friends that we've had along the way, and those connections, and that's what it's about. And we're just sharing our passion and love for music. In fact, this here, that Les Paul that I've got there, certainly was inspired by my conversations with Hack over the years, certainly. So, and this is going to be probably the topic of one little point that we want to make. Someone in the chat earlier, and I forget who it is, please forgive me. Someone earlier made a conversation point about Epiphones versus Gibsons. So this is a perfect time for us to talk about it. I have both. I've got a Firebird and I've got an ES335. That's Epiphones. I've had lots of Epiphones over the years, Hack. I've got a Gibson. There is a difference between the guitars, but I use both. I don't have any preference. It depends what you want to use the guitars for. Certainly one's more expensive than the other. But I'm not a guitar snob, Hack. I don't have any problems with using Epiphones. Do you have an opinion?
Well, for me, it's not so much Epiphone or Gibson, because I played a lot of crappy Gibsons.
Me too.
And I've played a lot of crappy Epiphones. It's a matter of finding the right one. And it. So yeah, you're gonna pay more for the Gibson, of course, but if you find a good Gibson, that's worth the money. And the same I would say for an Epiphone. Now I can't say I've ever owned an Epiphone. I mean, I'm a little bit probably more of a cork sniffer than you are. That being said, I own, a Mexican Fender, and I'd have no problem with it, and I'll put that up against my American Fender. Like, again, it's just you just got to find the right guitar is really what it comes down to. Whatever speaks to you, whatever works with you, puts out the sound that you want. That's kind of where it lies. And there's good and bad, and it's not a matter of price point. It really isn't. That's what I found. I've just gone through a whole thing, and very recently, where I've been going through a whole bunch of guitars, and I've been buying guitars, and I've been selling guitars, and like I just bought a Gibson acoustic, and it's not their top of the line. It's the what do they call it, their geez, I forget even it's a cheaper line of Gibson, but they're damn good guitars. You just got to find the right one, really, is what it comes down
Oh,
to.
look, I agree with you. I agree with you. I've got my classic vibe Stratocaster that I've made a couple of mods to. Will give any of my American-made Stratocasters a run for their money, Hack. But this Gibson here, and I want to make that point pretty clear with what Hack was saying too. So I got this Gibson. I've changed the pickups, Hack. I took the burst buckers out. I've got some Bethnal greens in there, which are modelled on Peter greens. I
Right.
changed the machine heads, the tuners, sorry, and I put a bone nut on. So I'm making that more sounding more a guitar more suited to me. So yeah, your
Right.
point. I get your point.
Well, I mean, like I've done that too. I've taken Burst Bucker Pros out of Les Pauls, and I put, Burst Bucker 1, Burst Bucker 2, because I do like the sort of the more I don't like the what's what I'm looking for, not less aggressive sounding pickups.
Yep.
So I want the yeah. So and because I think you get a little more articulation and a little more tonal variety if it's not punching the amp in the throat every time you hit a note, right? So yeah, I've done that too, and like the argument of saying like Epiphones are, all Epiphones are crap and all Gibsons are great, or all Gibsons are crap and Epiphones are, it's you can't paint any brand of guitar with one brush, you
Sure.
know because you hear these stories all the time, like, any what was it, there was a bad decade for, what was it, the I think that any 70s Gibsons were crap. So you're telling me every guitar made in that decade like is garbage? Like that, there's just so much stupidity out there in terms of, marginalizing which guitars are good and which guitars are bad. At the end of the day, it's your guitar, you're playing it, you're going to find something that you like, and it doesn't matter what the price point is. It's all what you can afford. But, what you can afford doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bad guitar. Like, there are real gems out there to be found, right? I mean, I've like I said, I just got a Fender Meteora, which is a Mexican made Fender, and I'll put that up against my American guitar. It's absolutely killer. You just got to find it. If they're out there, you just got to find the right one.
Yeah. And look, I agree with you. And I was having a chat with another good friend of ours the other day, and we made a reference about well, look, if you're going to tell people though to be getting guitars and you've never owned, for example, a Les Paul, if you've never owned a Les Paul, don't recommend to somebody to buy a Les Paul, because really, what
No.
experience are you coming from? So and yeah, I always find that interesting. But look, Epiphones, you can mod them. Well, just like this here, as you said, Hack, you can pull pickups out, and my
Yeah.
EVH 5150, I've changed the pickup and that, so that's all great. But yeah, look, I'm not a guitar snob, guys, at all. Buy what you can afford. Buy the guitar you can't afford, the one that a little bit better, then that's always a better thing to do from my experience. But those inspired by Epiphones are pretty good guitars.
I'll give you another example. Now, it's not a Epiphone or Gibson, but I'll give you like a PRS example. Like, PRS makes guitars that are super expensive, and then they
Sure.
make they make a model called the CE, and the CE is like, and they're not cheap, but in the PRS world, they're the least expensive American made guitars. my CE, I should say, it will blow away a guitarist 3 or 4 times the price. It's just a way better instrument, and it is, again, it's not based on price. It's just I'll put that against, the any PRS. It just blows them away. And I've tried a ton of PRSs, and this is the best one they make as far as I'm concerned. And it's the cheapest American one they make. So again, it comes right back down to that same thing, right?
Yeah, cool. Robert, it's Sunday here in New Zealand, and so it's always a good day for me now to touch base with our North American brothers and sisters that want to stream on our channel. So, I've been trying to get Hack on the channel for a long time, and Hack's gigging. One of the hardest things, guys, that you have to do, going live, that's easy. Trying to organise and coordinate with someone that's halfway around the world on a time slot and a time zone, that's always going to be the difficult thing. So for our channel now, Sunday's probably going to be a good day for us to touch base with guys from North America. So that's why you're going to get 3 bites of the apple from the channel today. We did one with Alan, doing one with Hack, and we're going to do our normal show with the Rock Professor later. Oh my Lord. Okay. Look, guys, we don't have a lot of time here because, Hack's got a few other things to do, but it's great touching base with you guys all. I'm going to do a quick shout out, Hack, if that's okay.
Yeah, man.
I don't normally do this because my other co-hosts do that, but bear with me, guys. So we have Nelson Rodriguez in the chat, a channel member. Thank you, brother. Been with us from the word go. Thank you. Mitch Harmon, been with us from the word go. Good to see you, Mitch. Spencer Cron, thank you, brother, for hanging out with us. We've got John ZD351 from Melbourne, another good friend of the channel. Gretch Zeppelin, my gosh, great friend of the channel as well.
Cool.
Tim Thomas, Gussie Wells, Canadian. He's a Canadian brother.
Yep.
Rick. Who else do we have here, guys? Just bear with me while I'm scrolling down. Greg Roberts tune. Thank you, Greg. Paul Lou, thank you.
Hey, Paul.
KXM Rock, thank you, brother. Another good friend of the channel, Hugh Caldwell, and I think that's about it. Kubrick Lover, thank you, brother. You guys are fantastic. If I've missed you, please forgive me. I'll do the best that I can at the end to do a shout out. You guys are important to us. You guys know that. And I'm sure Hack, when he's running his shows, always tries to do the best by doing shout outs because that's a good thing. That's a key thing, isn't it, Hack?
Yeah, well, thanks everybody for checking out the show. Appreciate everybody being here. A lot of familiar names, which is very cool, and some new names, which is even cooler. There you go.
Awesome, bro. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to have a general conversation about Led Zeppelin III. We're going to go through and we're going to rank the tracks and talk a little bit about the tracks. See what you guys think. If you guys disagree with some of our rankings, Hack is the guest, so he's going to get the first opportunity to rank the tracks. But before we do that, Hack, let's have a general discussion. Tell people about you and Jimmy Page. How did you meet Jimmy Page? What does Jimmy Page mean? Yeah, people love to hear that.
Well, I mean, I've never met him in person. I wish I had. But no, Jimmy Page, and I've done shows on Led Zeppelin on my channel, and I did the top rock guitar players. And Jimmy Page for me is like my favorite. I won't say the best because everybody has their own favorites, but hands down, he's my favorite guitar player of all time. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One is, of course, his playing, but it's also his compositional skills and his arranging skills and his engineering skills and his producing skills. I mean, the guy's he is the whole package. If you listen to any Zeppelin record, I mean, they don't date. They don't sound old. They don't sound dated. They sound like they were done last week. And that's a testament to his genius and just the parts that we did a real deep analysis on Led Zeppelin on my channel. And I mean, I did favorite Jimmy guitars, Jimmy Page solos, all kinds of stuff. And the more you listen to it, it just come away with even more and more of an appreciation of the guy's, just his genius. And I also, man, I do write my own music, and you know, I would say the biggest inspiration, or sort of um what I try to sort of use as sort of a guide as to when I'm putting stuff together, is always Jimmy Page. It's the light and the dark. It's the transitions. It's the, you know, compositionally, the arrangements. There's, and even, when, I mean, I play in a cover band, but I improvise most of my solos, and there's a little bit of Jimmy Page in pretty much everything that I do, whether it's original music or jamming or playing with the band. There's a lot of Jimmy-isms in what I do, and I mean, yeah, he is, for me, heads and shoulders the best guitar player on the planet ever. So that kind
Oh,
of sums it.
well, there's no argument from me. He's certainly in
Yeah,
my top three. He was always someone, that I aspired to be like, when you're a young guy,
yeah,
growing up, when you first discover rock and roll, and we're a little bit older than, so, in the 80s, early 80s, when you're a young guy, it's, the dragon suit, the low slung Les Paul, that classic look,
yeah.
which is our backdrop here for the show at the moment. It's just one of those iconic images, and for me, heck, that's what it's about. It's the total package. Yes, you've got the music, that's really important. He's surrounded by other musicians who are
Oh yeah,
absolutely fantastic as
phenomenal.
well,
Yeah,
geniuses. He
mhm,
looks cool because rock and roll is about looking cool. Let's
yeah.
let's face it. He fits all the categories that you want, and then you finally get a guitar and you try and do some of these riffs, and that's another journey in itself, isn't it, Hack?
Well, it's funny because I didn't, like, when I got interested in music and playing music as a kid, like, I'm talking 12, 13-year-old kid, it was Kiss. But
Yeah,
when I got serious about playing music, it was Jimmy Page.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, that was sort of the door in. But then when I started really trying to become a decent guitar player, Jimmy Page was my guy, and he still is my guy. And I'm talking now, we're looking at, the 80s and excuse me, late 80s and the 90s, and there was all that, and that's when all that flashy stuff was going on, and the finger tapping. That stuff never appealed to me. It just never did. I was always more about the song, and I was always more about playing for the song, and playing melodically. And if you listen to Jimmy Page's solos, I mean, they are just off the charts, just absolutely perfectly crafted. And when he crafts a solo, it's not just note choice, but even the tones he dials up in his guitar, which, outside of the context of the song, are like horrible sounding, but within the song, man, he just knows how to dial up the perfect sound to just highlight that solo as he's playing it. And again, that goes back to the sonics and the arrangement and everything else. And yeah, you just got to take your hat off to the guy, you know.
Yeah, look. I think you're right, and I think we need to remind people about this. A couple of points that Hack alluded to there before. We have to remember that in the '80s, Led Zeppelin weren't popular. They
No,
weren't cool.
no,
So when everybody was running around, either getting into Iron Maiden, Def Leppard, the new British, the new wave,
yeah, British heavy metal, yeah.
and heavy metal, and they were listening to Van Halen and stuff like this, the American stuff that was coming through. Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. Led Zeppelin, wasn't cool, and I remember those days, guys. Yeah. The fact that you are holding that flag back around that time, Hack, goes to prove that you were just solely cool.
But but the funny thing is, my favorite guitar players are all '70s guys,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
not
yeah,
'80s
yeah, yeah,
guys. The
yeah,
only
yeah, yeah.
for me, the only modern guy that I really dig is Nuno Bettencourt. But outside of Nuno Bettencourt, give me Tony Iommi, give me
Yeah,
Jimmy Page. These are the guys that I love.
yeah. Mick
And the
Taylor, Mick
70s,
Taylor during his tenure with the Rolling Stones. Yeah, yeah, one of my favorite guys. Yeah, yeah,
these are because these guys, they were all. I always love guys that sort of had their foundation in the blues and then just kind of you
yeah,
know, grew from that. And Page is one of those guys, and all of those guys, Iommi too. Like they all have that sort of common thread among. And Ace Frehley, I love Ace Frehley. '70s Ace Frehley was killer.
yeah.
Same thing, right? So
Same thing, and that's why the British Electric Blues for our channel will always be the key, the launch pad, because it was their interpretation and their reinvention of it that inspired not only British artists that Hack was mentioning, but also in turn re-inspiring American guys. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no, we love it. We love it. It's fantastic, and Page certainly was the torchbearer, and we'll always celebrate that. I also want to say one thing too, Hack, before we get into the tracks and talking about the album. One of the great things about Led Zeppelin, we mentioned it earlier with Alan Garber before, the information that's available now to music fans in the way of books and
Mhm.
different remasters and recordings and bootlegs for Led Zeppelin's fantastic. The information is there for you to go and get. You don't have to guess a lot of it. It's there. Maybe you need some a deep wallet to go and get all this kind of stuff, but it's there, Hack.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, there's no shortage of videos on how to play, you know, certain licks and certain riffs, and I bet you if you see three different guys playing it, you'll be seeing three different guys playing it differently. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
But the
and that's the way
information
it is.
but the information is there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so Led Zeppelin III is interesting an album, isn't it? We all know the
Yes.
story. The media, the music media, the
Mm.
hacks,
Yeah.
the hacks at the time didn't appreciate the album. In fact, to be fair, as we all know, because we're Led Zeppelin nuts, the media didn't appreciate Led Zeppelin at all. Their first album, their second album. So the fact that they crapped on the third album's not surprising, Hack.
Well, the third album gets, because it's the acoustic album. But when I went back and I listened to it, yeah, there's acoustic songs on there, but they're not like, I mean, there's one or two that are kind of slow and mellow, but they're still the other acoustic ones are kind of heavy.
Yep.
There's definitely a groove going on, and it's just some heavy drums, and there's electric guitar solos going on. So it wasn't exactly like, the way it was described, because, the way it's sort of framed as it's their acoustic album. Well, I mean, there's a lot of heavy stuff on this as well. So is there acoustics? Yes. There was acoustics on the first record too, wasn't there? Babe, I'm
Sure.
gonna leave you, right? I mean, but there's a couple more, but on this one, but they're not like mellow tunes. It's not, like easy listening. Led Zeppelin, they're, well, apart from maybe one song, but most of them are still kind of heavy, acoustic heavy, if you want, and very aggressive acoustic guitar playing. And
Yeah.
this was a real
Yeah.
showcase. Again, Jimmy Page. Man, can that guy play acoustic guitar? Because she shines on this album beautifully. With no
Yeah.
bells and whistles, straight acoustic 12 string, plays mandolin, banjo. John Paul Jones, actually, I'm not sure who played what, but I know the acoustic stuff on here was Jimmy, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think one thing too we got to remember, guys, as well, that Led Zeppelin obviously are a product of their time too. So the American folk rock movement,
Right.
Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, the
Yeah.
Byrds, all that kind of stuff. That was happening exactly at the same time when Led Zeppelin were recording this album and touring with this album. So this album for music fans didn't sound out of place. You go and you check out any kind of reference to it from the organic fans or other artists, and they'll tell you that. If it's just,
Yeah.
again, the journalists, the so-called experts who, like Heck said, label it the acoustic album.
Yeah, I mean, Zeppelin II, Heartbreaker, Whole Lot of Love, and this is different. Well, different doesn't necessarily mean bad. Different means that they're growing as artists and they're exploring other things. There's a lot of folk element in this that maybe
Yep.
wasn't present before, but it
Yep.
was something in their canon, right? That eventually came out. I mean, later, I mean, these guys grew as a band. Physical Graffiti. Hey, we got keyboards now. That was a new thing, right? And they just kept evolving and evolving and evolving. And I mean, it's a shame that Bonham passing and after the through the outdoor record, because I mean, one thing I mentioned on when I did the Zeppelin show is because that last album was a heavy John Paul Jones album, and in through the outdoor is one I think to rank that as my number 2 favorite Zeppelin record. I would
Yep.
have loved to see another John Paul Jones Zeppelin record because that guy just knocked it out of the park.
He's a
But
genius.
that was, yeah, everybody in that band, like, this just goes to show you, like, I mean, you think, well, Jimmy was the main guy. Well, Jimmy wasn't really pulling his weight then. As we all know, Jimmy had issues, right? And hey, John Paul Jones slid in and just knocked it out of the park. I mean, that band, that's how much talent they had. They could run on any cylinder, literally, so.
Sure. And look, and there's one other point too, and we've got to make reference to this, to the Rock Professor, because the Rock Professor always loves to bring this point up because he's 100% correct. The acousticness of this album, the acousticness of Jimmy Page isn't something new, because Jimmy Page started off playing in a skiffle band, and skiffle
Right.
bands are acoustic. So,
Mhm.
it's right there at the bloody beginning.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, when mentioning that and then listening to some of these songs, because some of them are just, yeah, they could have been skiffle songs, you know, like
Greg,
Bon Jovi, for example.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Heck.
Yeah,
So, Greg wants to know who you are. So, Guitar Hack is a good friend of the channel. He's got his own channel. He's a guitar player. He's based in Canada. Good
Canada.
friend of the channels. I'm going to include his channel link to the show, guys. Go and check out Hack. We've been on each other's channels before in the past, just touching base and trying to work out shows. Heck would often come back from gigs, and when he was recuperating from gigs, would join us in our
Yeah,
chat when the Rock Professor and I were on. So
yeah,
just organising, getting guys on is always going to be a difficulty. So Hackers, he's been around.
yeah, yeah. I just finished a run of 5 weeks, 5 weekends, and this is my 1 weekend off, and then I started another run of 5 weekends of gigs. Yeah, we got we even got New Year's Eve booked already. Like, we're crazy busy.
Oh, great. And don't we love that? Don't we
Oh,
celebrate that? Because, 2
making up
years of
for
not
lost
having
time.
it. And an
Yeah.
awesome guy too. Absolutely, Hugh. Absolutely.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Hugh.
yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Hack's been a yeah. We've been touching base for a while. So if you guys do message and share messages with Hack, yeah, and if you want to talk Les Pauls,
Oh,
if you want to get advice on Les Pauls, Hack's the man.
yeah.
Certainly,
I've owned
certainly, yeah.
I've owned a few.
um, yeah, I think this album, when it first came out, when I heard it, I was listening to this album when I was listening to Led Zeppelin 1, Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin 3, and Led Zeppelin 4. I was listening to the whole lot Hack at the same time. My
Right.
introduction into Led Zeppelin was certainly The Song Remains the Same, the concert
Mhm.
album. I think I was listening to that for at least 3 months before I heard anything else. So,
Mm.
so, so on hindsight, I don't see this being distinct from the other albums. What about you? How did you hear Led Zeppelin III? How did that come into your
Oh,
consciousness?
man. Yeah. I think the first Zeppelin record I ever Song Remains the Same was
Yep.
the first thing. I had the video. I didn't have the
Yes.
record, I had the video, and it just blew me away. I
Yeah.
mean, just Jimmy Page, like, oh my god, like, just those jams and that just improvisation stuff that he was doing just absolutely blew me away. That was the first thing. And then it was, the first album. And then they were all kind of spotty. And then I bought Physical Graffiti, and then I can't remember what I bought. So I don't know exactly when, but it was just one of those to kind of fill in the gaps, really. So I don't know exactly when I've bought, man, I've got all the BBC sessions. I've got the like
Hmm.
do you remember? I don't know if they had this in New Zealand. They had like it was like a reissue of their like best of, and it was 4 separate CDs and a box
Remasters.
booklet.
Yes.
Yeah, I have
Yes.
that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know when this came because it was like I was buying.
1990 that came out.
Is that what? Okay, that's when like I was really really getting into Zeppelin. So I don't know when this actually when I got this record, but it was just another Zeppelin record, and then there were songs on it that there are songs on here that I knew from Song Remains the Same, and then there
Yep.
was stuff here that I hadn't heard before, but yeah, so I don't have a definite date on that.
That's okay. That's fine. Yeah, and like Hugh's saying that Led Zeppelin III blew his mind first. So
Oh,
guys, if you want to participate in the chat and tell us how you discovered Led Zeppelin III, we're going to start off with ranking the tracks, and nothing too deep, nothing too heavy. We're just going to talk about some of the points maybe of the song, and go from there. So, Heck, because you are the guest on
mhm.
our show, the first track is "Immigrant Song," bro. So, what's your score?
Well, okay, so what I did with ranking the tracks is I ranked them like from my favorite to my least favorite.
Sure.
So, do you want to do it by that way instead? It might make a little more sense.
You can do it any way that you want. Normally, what I do is I just, with our channel, is we just rank the track from 9 to 10. That's all, and
Out of 10, I ranked them like my favorite song on the record to my. So I misunderstood what you meant by ranking. Okay,
yeah,
Immigrant Song. That's a 10 out of 10.
yeah,
That's a killer song. I mean, it was a thing that Page used to tech. Like he used it's an octave riff, right? He's playing off of the F sharp,
yep,
and it's something that he used it there. I think that's the first time he used that idea, and then he used it again on the Wonton song on Physical Graffiti. That same idea of but in the Physical Graffiti, it's in G, but yeah, I mean, Vikings, ice and snow, and all that kind of the imagery, and just the riff, and it's just, yeah, it's a great, great song, man. And then I love at the end too when they play that ninth chord, down and down and da down da, like just to like throw in a ninth chord like on a rock tune, like that's just really cool songwriting. That's what that is. But yeah, that's a 10 out of 10. The second song,
Oh,
Friends.
hold on, bro. So what I'll do is then I'll go through and I'll give my rank, and then and
Oh, I'm
then
sorry. I'm
yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
It's okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So look. I have to agree with you too, bro. I think "Immigrant Song" for me, definitely, it's a battering ram, isn't it? It is
Oh yeah,
certainly that riff between Page, Paul, and Bonham. It's classic. It is classic Led Zeppelin.
yeah,
It's a song that everybody eventually is going to hear. It's a song that they play here on classic rock. It
yeah,
deserves its position on classic rock. I've got some pics that we're going to flick up soon, guys, where it was premiered apparently at the Bath Festival, and it blew everybody away. The lyrics that Hack mentioned, Valhalla, it's just like if
Well,
you're a young guy, It just appeals to you, you know. If you and at that same time, heck, we were reading at school in my English class. We were reading Lord of the Rings, you know.
Oh,
So I've mentioned this on other programs that we've done on my channel. Wow, Led Zeppelin are talking and writing about, you know, Gollum, you know, and the
yeah,
evil
yeah.
Lord.
Modern.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know, and again, guys, you got to remember this. This is before the internet. This is before devices. So music for a lot of us in the chat too. You know, you're hearing these lyrics. They're painting images in your mind, and this is what we used to do. This is what we did, bro, in the olden days.
You
So
just
heck,
just
sorry.
you reminded me of something too. And there's one thing that Zeppelin had the ability to do that not a lot of bands did, is that song sounds so grandiose and majestic.
Yep.
And if you're playing it dun 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 dun, dun, and it's like you hit the was I think it's an A and then an E, open E. I mean, these are not like crazy chords, but if you listen to it the way it's produced, it sounds so big and powerful and majestic. And then you've got, plant like, oh, it's just,
Oh,
oh my god. It's just the hairs on your arms stand up like when you hear that, right?
yeah.
It just because they had that power. It's like powerful. You know what I mean? It's three guys, right? Making sound, right? Well, Plant singing, but they had the ability to make those riffs and those songs just sound massive and grandiose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I just want to pinch another little point that Alan Garber made earlier, Hack, which blew everybody away. He said, what we have to remember is that Robert Plant used his voice like an instrument. You know, he was using an echo on his voice. So that was the way that he brought his vocals into the band. It was it was treated like an instrument, and to that effect anyway, which made perfect sense not only to me but everyone else in the chat. Heck, one of the greatest rock and roll openers for an album,
Oh man, it's
worth
killer.
the price of the album. If all the other songs were a dud on this album, Hack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So because of that, we have on this channel anything that's above a 10, we call it a Brad score, because he was the one that first started cheating by saying it's 100 out of 10. So we just called it a Brad score. So I have to Brad score this.
Well, I'll
It's
do the same. I didn't know that existed, but then I'll do.
okay,
Yeah, I'm in there. Yeah,
it's a Brad score, and it's
the Brad.
certainly never a skip.
No, God, no. That's a killer. That's a killer song, man. That's a killer song.
Friends, bro.
All right.
Talk to me about Friends.
Friends is an interesting song. He's playing an alternate tuning. It's got kind of an Eastern kind of vibe. It's very mysterious, you
Yeah.
know. It's a very vibey type of song. It's it's okay. It's pretty good. It doesn't blow my socks off. Like it's honestly a little bit of a letdown after something as powerful as Immigrant Song. That being said, I'd still give it probably an 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Some commentators have called it the CIA of Led Zeppelin, the Celtic, Indian, African influence
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Led Zeppelin, and I dig that. I think that's a great description for what Led Zeppelin were doing on a lot of their
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned something a little bit earlier too on your intro about the light and shade. You understood that when you were a young cat. You know, you could hear the light and shade textures. So this is a classic example again of
Yes.
what Led Zeppelin were trying to do with the song. You know, you've got this great battering ram, you know, smacking the door down into the
Right.
castle because we're going to put you to the, I can't say that word, but, you know, we're taking no prisoners. And then this is the song that you're doing while you're listening to while you're seeing to your injuries. Look, I love it. I think it's, it's never a skip. but
No,
I'm
not a
giving it an
skip.
8 out of 10.
Yeah, not a skip. It's very atmospheric, you
Yeah,
know. It's very atmospheric, and I mean part of that is, like it almost sounds and it has that dissonance, right? Gadong gadong dun dun dun. It's got that, like it's again. There's the blues gadong. There's a blues,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's blues, and then he's playing this, dun dun dun, like this kind of dissonant thing. It's almost like I don't know. It sets a real. It almost kind of has a little bit of an evil, kind of vibe to it, right? You know what I mean? It's very. I don't know. It yeah. It's but that's it. It definitely sets a mood. It
Well,
definitely
that
sets.
Moog synthesizer at the end certainly
Oh, the
does set that.
Mellotron.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Certainly, adds to that tonality, or that image making that Hex talking about. Again, that repeated guitar riffs with those bongo percussions as well. Look, yeah, clever song, but
yeah.
as a couple of cats in the chat are saying, it's pretty hard to back up
No, I agree, but
the
no,
opener.
I'm not. Yeah, neither I or Andrew is saying it's a bad song, but
No, 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 no,
it's
no.
a really. There's not a well one dud for me on this record, but
Yeah,
definitely that's
yeah,
not it.
yeah, yeah. I think we might be on the same page here, bro.
Yeah.
Uh, Guys, good to see that you guys are ranking the album. Sorry, the songs with us. We love it. If you disagree with us, of course, give us a kick up the bum. We'll take it. Hex celebration song.
Oh wow, this is killer. This is another what's up, Brad score?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love the way it comes in because, the Mellotron from Friends comes back into this, and it's just got like a really weird sounding riff. But what kills me is like he's playing this weird riff kind of on his own. But as soon as the bass and the kick come in, it's like, oh my, there's the groove. Boom.
Yep.
I mean, like John Paul Jones and John Bonham, what a rhythm section. As soon as they kick in and they give it structure and groove, it just takes off. I love that song. I love Celebration Day. That is one of the that is one of the hidden gems. And why I say it's a hidden gem is because that is the song you have not heard 1,000 times on classic rock radio. That is a hidden
Correct.
gem. That's the beauty of that song. It's killer. And the riff is really messed up. Don't know no, don't know no, don't know no. But again, that riff on its own would not work. But with that thumping bass and the drum behind, it just kicks ass.
Yep.
Absolutely killer. Love that song. I always loved Celebration Day.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned, great thoughts and ideas behind that song, Hack. Because Led Zeppelin's always going to have a couple of sleepers, aren't they, on their album? And the fact that Hack said that this is never going to be on classic rock is a fact. But Led Zeppelin fans know this song.
Yeah.
In fact, their reunion gig was named after this song, wasn't it? So that
That's right. Yeah.
aptly aptly called, because it was a celebration. But look, look, I got to agree with you. I think you're bouncing from bang, going down here, and then bang, you're
Bang
back up
again.
here
Yeah.
again. Got to remember, guys, too. You got to remember this is the beginning of the 70s when albums were king. Listening to the album from song 1 to song 10 or whatever was part and parcel of that
Yeah.
journey. So you're getting that with this song. Really interesting, because apparently, according to my research, it was apparently not going to be on the album at all, because there was a bit of a cock up with the crinkling of the master tape in the studio. There were a few little issues around it that didn't get
Yeah. That's why the Mellotron
sorted.
started it. That's what I remember. Now you mentioned it. I
Yeah,
remember hearing that. That's why the Mellotron went into it because it was a
yeah, yeah,
vocal.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and again, as Hex said earlier too, who are the guys that are going to take a great song and fix it up. Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones. If they can't fix a song, heck, well,
Yeah.
I got to give this 10 out of 10, heck. Did you
Oh,
did you rank this?
oh yeah. I gave it a Brad score.
Oh,
Killer.
okay.
It's killer.
Oh. Never a skip, never a skip. And
Never a
you know
skip.
they played this too in '73, and they revived it too in '79. So at Nebworth. Yeah. So a hidden track for Led Zeppelin nuts. See if you guys agree with me there. Since
Yeah.
I've been loving you, heck.
All right. Is there a score above Brad's score?
This is the song that you're going to play to the aliens when they come to take us over. This is a song that you play to the aliens, and they're going to say, "You guys are cool. We're not going to take you over."
Yeah. Okay. So I I am a massive fan, obviously, of Jimmy Page, and I love when Zeppelin plays blues.
Me too,
Right?
brother.
I love it, and to me, Jimmy Page. I know, Andrew, your love for Eric Clapton and, you know, but Peter Green, but for me, nobody can touch Jimmy Page playing the blues. He's my absolute favorite blues, electric British blues guy is Jimmy Page. And on a song like this, he absolutely gets to shine.
Yep,
And the song is incredible. The vocal delivery is incredible. It's the dynamics, the light and the shade, the intensity, the oh my god, it's like all in there. It I mean they do a number in their catalog. There are a number of blues songs that they do. This for me and the recorded this version of it because they also do it on Song Remains the Same,
yep,
but this recorded version is absolutely my favorite. This is for me, this is like when I try to play blues guitar, this is my textbook. This is how it's done. It there's no for me, only speaking my own opinion,
yeah.
there's no better example than a Les Paul playing electric blues than this song.
Look, can
Can't
I
be
jump in?
yeah,
I'm going to jump in and back you up.
I'm done.
I'm going to jump in and back you up. You know, so this is certainly a great example of exactly of what Heck said. You know, you've got touches of it on the Beano album. You've got touches of it with Green. You know, on A Hard Road as well. This song with the Lemon Song for me are perfect examples of skinny little British guys playing blues. I have to back Hack up. Since I've Been Loving You was certainly one of my favorite songs when I was 13, 14 years old. Heck, you know, and I fell in love with the blues. I've been a blues man all my life, bro. You know, so I have to back Hack up there. These guys, these British guys, certainly had the ability to absorb that emotion that the blues has and present it back, you know, because they're living it too. You know, the UK, you know, post-war things weren't always rosy. You know, we've
Mhm,
heard lots of stories where Keith Richards talks about it. You know, it was black and white. You know, the whole landscape was black and white, and then you know they discovered American pop culture and rock and roll, and then you know everything turned into color. This is certainly a song that I get. I get lots of color when I hear this. I get chicken skin too. I've got this is a song that you played to the aliens, Heck. This is
yeah.
mandatory.
And
Mandatory.
I gotta mention too the beautiful organ playing of John Paul Jones to just
Wow.
oh my god. There's it and everything, the drums, I mean, it yeah. Not only is this my favorite blues that they do, but when we were, originally I thought you wanted to rank the tracks number like what are my favorite what this is my favorite song on the record. This
Okay.
is like probably one of my top 3 favorite Zeppelin songs is that song. That's how
No
much
problem.
since I've been loving it. It's incredible.
Yeah. What do you guys think of that? You know, you know, it's certainly To pinch a word from the rock professor's vocabulary, it's a manifesto. This is a manifesto song for so many things, budding beginner guitar players, and also a blueprint for encapsulating a whole movement. It's certainly up there. Led Zeppelin loved this song. It entered their set in 1970, right through 1971. They played it on Japan in 72 and then up to 73 in the US American dates. And then it came back in 75 and then 77 Hack. And then also they played in 79 in Europe in 1980. So they love the song. Brad, we got Brad in the chat.
Hey, Brad.
So Brad
Yeah,
is saying, "Since I've Been Loving You" is a masterpiece. The great
agreed.
power and dynamics of the
Yes,
four members united. One of,
exactly.
yeah,
It's exactly what I said. It's the dynamics, the light and the shade, like just the intensity and then bringing it down. I mean, that's a textbook. And me being a huge Les Paul guy, that's the tone, man. That's that's the tone. That's what you want to hear.
yeah.
That's what you want your guitar to sound like. That Les Paul. You want it to sound like that.
And
Yeah.
and Brad will back you up because he's got a couple of Les Pauls and he's got some Marshall sax too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the sound, man. Yeah.
Um, yeah, we'll have to when Brad is back. We'll have to go through this album and get Brad on and go through it again. But look, it's not the first time we've gone through Hack and ranked albums 3 or 4 times. We're happy to do it. Okay, bro, out in the tiles, Hack.
Out on the Tiles is another really cool rocker. A really cool riff again. Love the drums on this. That's another 10 out of 10 for me. That's just a good rocking song. Not not quite on the same level as say Celebration Day, but not too far behind. Still a pretty damn good rocker. Yeah, an enjoyable song. And again, another hidden gem, something that you'll never hear on the radio. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to echo again what Hack said. This is one of the great things about this album because you can probably, I don't want to say this meanly about some of the Led Zeppelin albums, but you guys are fans. You know what I'm saying. You can listen to a lot of albums and you can go, yeah, I've heard this before. I've heard this before. I've heard this before, and you might just, be going through the listening motion, Hack. But with this album, you're not going to hear a lot of stuff on repeat on radio. So that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I like this album.
Yeah.
Great track came out of Bonham's riff, apparently.
Yeah,
So it
apparently
was
Bottom. Yeah, he did it was his riff. Yeah.
yeah. So anything that Bonham's going to stake a claim on has to be pretty good. The
Yeah.
spacey sound mix is evident, which is really, really good because it's that depth, that breadth that Led Zeppelin were trying to look for. And as you mentioned again in the intro, where were they recording this? What was inspiring the band? Landscape, space. Physical space. So they were trying to reproduce that, weren't they? Hacking some of their songs, did it well.
Wasn't Out on the Tiles like a slang reference for like being hungover or something? That's what I
Just looking.
that's what
Oh,
I thought it was about. I could be wrong.
uh,
It was an expression for either being hungover or drunk or something to do with alcohol anyway.
somebody in the chat will know that. But again, a classic example too, again, of how Page used miking. The distances and the miking set up by Page because he'd been doing that for years. Hack,
Yeah,
when he was a session musician. So he understood the
yeah.
mechanics of how sound and distance and all that. Again, genius. So Hack,
Oh yeah, the guy
did you
was
score it?
yeah, he scored a 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm not going to follow you then. I'm going to give it a 9.5. But could tomorrow be a 10?
But this was a lot of this was recorded at Headley Grange as well with using the Rolling Stones mobile unit. Some of these
Yeah.
songs were recorded there as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
that's because you were talking about the miking and getting the big drum sound, and that's how that was achieved, right? Literally,
Yeah.
the guys in the foyer playing, and they're hanging mics off of the rail, off of the landing up above, right?
Yeah, very interesting, guys. Go and check that out. There's YouTube clips where they explain that.
Yeah,
Again,
they go to the
yep,
house. They actually go to the house and they show there's where the drums were.
yep,
These were where we had the mics hanging. Yeah,
yep,
it's
yep,
cool.
yep. And they're not relying on computer programs to do that hack. They're not relying on Pro
No.
Tools to do that hack. They're actually using microphones in space, in time. Wow, jeepers.
Okay, so John Z351, and hey John says out on the tiles is being out on a bender. Okay, I knew it was something alcohol related. So there you go. He's
Yeah.
on a bender. All right.
Yeah, we know what a bender is. Here in New
Uh,
Zealand, it's
that
called out
that
on
was
the
all. I know
piss.
what that is. We know what that is. Yeah.
Gallows Pole.
So Gallows Pole is an acoustic song, but it's a heavy song. So I was going
Ooh.
back to this being the acoustic record. It's an acoustic song, but it's got a really, really heavy groove. And, the mandolin, is beautiful on this. And there's a little bit of banjo in there. But, you know, it starts off, but then it gets kind of heavy. The drums come in, right? And it's just it's a stomp, right? It's a heavy grooving song. It's not acoustics played, tenderly and lightly. It's acoustics played, with a lot of power. So, yeah, I think it's still a pretty heavy tune, and I always love Gallows Pole. Always love Gallows Pole. Shit, that's another 10 for me. I love that song. Always have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have to agree with you. According to my information, it goes back to Lead Belly. One of
yeah,
the giants in acoustic blues. And Jimmy adapted it from a version from a guy called Fred Garlick. And you mentioned it earlier. So Page is playing banjo, 6-string and 12-string acoustic, and the electric guitar. John Paul Jones is on the mandolin and bass, and
mandolin. Yeah,
unfolds this beautiful tale of medieval woe. Oh gosh,
yeah.
jeepers! And then you got Bonzo banging away. Um,
Heavy song. I mean, it's a heavy tune for it's acoustic instruments, but it's a heavy tune. I think.
yeah, 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 yeah. This is something that I was thinking about when I was going through listening to this a couple of times in preparation for the show with you guys. um, Sonically, it made no difference to me going from, say, the first song to this because of the energy, because of that, the energy that's there. So, certainly it's not electronic, it's acoustic, but that energy that's transferred from the song Hack,
Yeah,
and that we can hear sonically, it's remarkable. A lot of bands, bro, can't do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's yeah. There's like I mean, intensity, aggression. Just like I said, I mean, he's bashing away at the acoustic guitar, bum 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 bum. Digga, digga, digga. Like it's he's playing it heavy. He's playing it like an electric guitar, and
Yep.
it's yeah, and it grooves, and plus it's got the groove. That the one thing about Zeppelin is everything they did had groove. Because Bonham, he was into James Brown, that whole kind of R&B thing going. Everything that guy played had groove. He was a rock drummer, but he was a groove drummer, and that's what makes all the Zeppelin stuff work, and that's why Bonham is for me the best rock drummer that ever lived, because he always laid it down beautifully.
Yeah,
Even when
yeah,
he's just playing something as simple as hitting the kick drum, he's laying it down. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
everything he does has groove. Everything.
Yeah, well, when we were doing the ranking the tracks on the song remains the same. We were making a couple of points there. Where if you go and listen to some of these isolated tracks of Bonzo drumming, you can hear he's counting. He's actually verbalizing his drumming riffs. So he's
Wow. Okay.
counting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's counting. He's counting. He's talking. Yeah, So, and he has what the rock professor and Brad always identify with a lot of these bands, Hack, that you mentioned before. They had swing. Certainly, these guys could
Yeah.
swing, and for a three-piece band to do that and pull it off, it's even remarkable.
Yeah. 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 Swing is groove. Yeah, it's just, yeah. It's like I was saying before, like Celebration Day doesn't sound like a song until the rhythm section comes in and boom, there it is. There's
Yep,
that foundation, there's the groove, and then everything sits beautifully on top. Yeah, they're incredible band. I mean, Zeppelin. What can you say?
remarkable,
Yeah.
remarkable, remarkable. Heck, Tangerine.
Beautiful song. 12-string acoustic on this, right? It's a song that I play on my acoustic. It only has 6 strings, so it doesn't sound quite as lush, but it's a really beautiful song. And this is an acoustic song. It's not a heavy song. This is an acoustic mellow song, but it's got a beautiful melody. The chords are, just a very melodic, well done song. And the guitar, what the star of the song knows when the guitar solo comes in and
Yep,
just crushes it. I mean, and there's again why I love Jimmy Page. He comes in, he's got the perfect guitar tone, and he just plays the most beautiful solo that comes in perfectly. He brings it in perfectly, and he always comes out of the solo with the perfect phrase, and then it just leads right into the song. It's always such a smooth transition. His note choice, his execution, his tone, everything. It's perfection. This is why I love this guy so much. Like, he is the textbook for everything I try to play, every solo I play. This is the guy that I try to model myself after, because he has that ability. He comes in, plays the right stuff at the right time, and then comes right out, and the song just it and elevates the song while he's doing it. He makes it even better than what it is. And
yep,
Tangerine is a perfect example of that.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
What's your score, bro?
Oh, dude, that's a 10. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, look. I'm not going to sort of jump away too much from what Hack said. It's a song that goes back to the Yardbirds era. That lovely double tracking that Robert has. With his vocals is fantastic. Again, you've got some depth and breadth there with it. And that pedal steel guitar thing that's going on. Hack, I just think it's remarkable.
Yeah,
Um, Again, it's a product of its time. A lot of guys were playing 12-string guitars really, really well around this time. Neil Young, for example, was a great exponent of playing acoustic 12 strings. So Page is matching it with these guys and probably doing better. Again, it's been a song that's been in their set for a while. Look, I love it. It's as Hugh said, it's a lovely song. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. It's one of the songs. It's one of the songs that you can play anywhere.
yeah,
Certainly, Hack. It's a hidden gem, and
mm,
I'm glad the song too isn't on classic radio, because it's a lovely surprise when you put the CD on or you're listening to Spotify and you get up to the song. It just puts you in a different space. 10 out of 10, Hack.
yeah. And you mentioned the pedal steel. That's a nice little effect that he's blending in there. It almost gives a song. I hate to, because I'm not a fan of country music, but there's a little bit of a country vibe on the choruses, but still, that doesn't ruin the song for me. It's still a great song.
Well, again, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because look at 68 Stones, Beggars Banquet, 3 or 4 songs, definitely country inspired. So
Yeah,
so these guys were listening to each other. So if they weren't pinching whole chunks of songs to put into their songs, they were taking little snips. They were just
yeah,
cutting little bits off. Heck,
yeah. I do love Hot Dog though. That's a kind of a country romp, but I love that song.
who doesn't like a
Oh,
bit of
no,
hot
no,
dog?
no. I love that. I love Hot Dog. Anyway, all right.
Bron, yeah, R stomp.
Oh, that's a
Have I
fantastic
have I
acoustic.
pronounced it properly?
Ronnie R. Stomp. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And
cool.
named after where the cottage that they were staying at when they wrote some of these acoustic songs. Yeah, it's just some amazing, fantastic acoustic playing. Another really heavy groove, right? Another groove song. And again, he's not playing Like Tangerine is kind of, nice and mellow, but he's banging away on this guitar, on this song. Like he's banging away on the acoustic, and it's a heavy tune because of it, and I love it. I love the groove on this song. It's got like like I guess a traditional kind of a homey sort of feel to it, but I dig it. I dig it a lot. For me, it's a 10. I love Brownie Air Stomp. Always have.
I used to get into arguments with guys over the years, heck, and they came close to but never really did because I'm just a blues man. I don't do any of this kind of stuff. But I would stick up and defend the song. I loved it. I
Yeah,
always did. That you got the spoons in there and the
yeah,
castanets being played there, the
yeah.
acoustic bass. It's
Very,
fantastic.
very
You
homey.
know,
So, yeah,
Yep. Yeah. It's just got something. It sounds like something that you would do easily with your friends. That's
yeah,
that's something that I like about it. And then I started realizing, oh my gosh, a little bit later on, that it was written after Plant's dog called Strider. Which is like again, another character. And Brit. Look, I love it. Yeah, I have to give it a 10 out of 10 too. And again, it's been in their set 72 Hack, 72, 73, 75 at Earl's Court.
there you go.
And it was a medley with Black Country Woman and the 77 tour. So
That's very
clearly a song that Led Zeppelin loved playing.
Yeah, that's a good song, man. It's
Hey,
fun.
Daniel.
There's Daniel. Yes, Daniel, I'm not a fan of country. Yeah, Daniel knows that.
Good on him. That's the way, Hack.
All right, so that's the way. It's okay. That's
Yeah.
one of the weaker ones for me. I love the mandolin on it. You know, beautiful melody played on the mandolin. This is an acoustic song that is not aggressive. It's a mellow song, right? We all know that. Yeah, it's just it's okay. I would say it's the only one that I haven't ranked a 10 here is Friends, and I would say that this maybe is I like it about as much as Friends. I'd say it's an 8. It's not on the same level as the rest of the record. But I mean, you're comparing greatness to very good to great,
Sure.
right? So it's not great, it's very good. So, but yeah, it's not on the same. I'd give it an 8. Yeah.
And look, an 8 is guys, it's a fantastic score. It's an interesting song because it's about centers around the disillusion of a pair of lovers, which is always a great thing to write a song about.
Yeah.
You got to have that kind of song because it's an album that's been sold to you, and it's an album that has to at least try and reverberate emotions and passages in time that we have as people, and certainly back then as young people. So you got to have those songs, Hack, that you're going to be sitting around with the marshmallows,
Yeah.
roasting marshmallows too, and cuddling up to the girl. You got to have those kind of songs.
Yeah.
It's really important. This is the way that I see this. I did some research on this song, and really, really interesting. A lot of people said that it's one of this is Plant's best ever lyric and performance. I have to back Hack up here. It's not, in my opinion, not one of his best. Certainly great. It's a great performance, but not his best. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10 too. I'm glad that we're on that same page. Been in and out of the set for a while too, 75, 72, 71. And they said apparently in one of the reviews that I read, Heck, that they premiered it at that Bath Festival, and it was a standout feature in the acoustic set.
Mm.
So they certainly added something different dynamically to it when it was played live, by all accounts. But on the
Well,
record, it's adequate.
the guitar solo on it is very good, though.
Yep.
I do love the guitar solo. That kind of. maybe that. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna bring it up to a half. I'll make it 8.5 because now I'm
Yeah,
remembering the song, and yeah, the guitar solo's killer on that. So again, another example of he comes in, plays
yep.
a perfect lead line, and then comes out, and then it comes back into the D. Yeah, it's just beautiful. Yeah,
And isn't that great when these guitar players do that? You know, Mike Campbell is another great. I know he's an American, but Mike Campbell's one of those guys that just comes in and plays a little lead, you know, a little bit, and then buggers off. It's great, heck. Love it
yeah,
when guitar players do that.
mm, yeah, yeah. Play to the song. Yeah,
Yeah. Got to remember that, heck, don't we? Got to
yeah,
remember that.
yeah, yeah.
Got to remember that. There's a bass player, and there's a drummer, and there's a keyboardist in this band, and there's a singer. It's not about heck.
There's other people in this room. What?
Oh, bro. Hats off to Roy Harper.
All right. This is the weakest track for me on the record. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of the song. I know what they're going for. I mean, this is I think a remake of a blues song, and they're really trying to get that sort of very old. They want it to sound very old and authentic, like an old blues recording. With the slide guitar, and then they put that effect on Robert's voice where he's kind of, I don't know. I think he's playing through like they put some vibrato or so. He's playing through some. I don't know. Some you'll probably have all that in front of you. But anyway, it just it's not a very good song. It's just not good. It's the weakest track for me. Um, and all the other ones are kind of like kind of close to each other. The eights are close to the tens. This one here, man, I'd give this a 5 at best. It just doesn't cut it. It's not up to par with the rest of the material on the record. This is the weakest song for me for sure.
Look. I'm not going to argue with you, bro. I think it's an interesting song. You know, it's based loosely around a Booker White song called Shake 'Em
There you go,
Down."
Book of White. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, a standout is the authentic bottleneck that Page is getting on it. So, you know, because of that, I love it.
Right. Right.
And then we got to see that a little bit later in Traveling Roadside Blue.
Oh, Charlie Rolls. Oh God.
Uh, yeah. All these
Was it
names.
Riverside Blues?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and we get to see a progression of him playing it. You know,
Yeah.
slide a little bit better. Um, um, how many? Just give me a second. I'm just trying to read my notes here, bro, because I'm just trying to work out.
I would have. It would for me if they didn't do that effect on Robert's voice, and if it was recorded a little bit differently, and they just played it and didn't try to make it sound so old and like it's coming off an old 45, it would probably be a better song. Because I think in a way that kind of ruins it. Like it just doesn't work.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying, and you know what's really interesting about the song, heck, and it might back your score up. Led Zeppelin never played this live.
there you go.
And you gave it a 5. You gave it a 5 out of 10. I ranked it 7 because of the slide,
Mm,
because I'm a sucker for slide, bro.
yeah,
But yeah, according to the information I have, never played it live. So yeah, Led Zeppelin are probably good judges of their own music about what they're going to play live, aren't they? Heck.
yeah. And of the tracks, it's my least favorite. Like no question. The other ones are way way better. Way better songs. Yeah,
Well, I
but
got to tell you, we do have notes. We do take notes. Well, trust me. Yeah, I can't lie, bro, and say that it's all retained in here because it's not. No, we do have notes, but um, as an album closer, when you consider Hack, so we've just done this album, Led Zeppelin III, which is clearly in the canon, 1, 2, and 3. We've got a great opening track, a
Killer.
masterpiece, a
Mhm.
masterpiece. So does this end song? And remember, because these guys are giving us a presentation of a complete package here. So are you happy when you hear Roy Harper? Are you satisfied after this listening experience?
Well, no, that's the thing. It's a disappointing finish. If the last cut on the record was Bronny R, I'm like, this album kicks
Good
because I
point.
love Bronny
Glad
R.
you said that. Yes, yeah. So it's interesting that you should say that, because the rock professor is always critical about the worst song, or the least bestest song ending an album.
Yeah,
You should bury that somewhere in the middle of side 2. You
agreed.
should, yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So they made a mistake there, in my opinion. I think so. I'm going to back Hack up again and say, I agree with you. I think they could have ended it with 2 other songs.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say that side one of this record is probably, of all Zeppelin records, probably one of the best side ones, like top 2 or 3 of their entire catalog. Because side one is all killer. Like
Yeah.
Immigrant Song is great, Friends is great, Celebration Day, Since I've Been Loving You, Out on the Tiles.
Well,
That's the
ladies
first.
and gentlemen, sorry to interrupt you, Hack. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. We're going to have somebody jump in here, and he's going to give us a quick summation of whether or not, well, he might tell us off too.
Uh oh.
Here he is. Brad.
Hey,
Hey,
Brad.
how are we? Good?
Good. How are
Good.
you, man?
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Hack.
Nice to meet you too, man.
I've been listening. I've been out and about, so I've been listening intently to your scoring. There's a few timeouts, maybe. No, I'm joking. No, I'm for the most part, I'm on the money with you guys. Probably, for me, we've done this album before, Andrew. So, you know what it means to me, and what it's the flow of the record is important, and I'm not going to discount any of the songs on the record, because for me it's like blasphemy to say I shouldn't put this song here and that on a Zeppelin record. But I agree with what you're saying about the songs. I just wouldn't have been so harsh on the last one. That's all. That's all. But
Okay,
for
that's
me,
good.
I had to jump in quickly and just say I loved listening to your explanation there, Hack. That was great. And Andrew, you guys are amazing. And this album in particular, anyone knows me well knows Zeppelin is probably one of my 2 all-time favorite bands. The Beatles and Led Zeppelin are just
Yeah.
they're in another league to me, and
Yeah, agreed.
you can't really go close to either 2 of those bands for whatever reason. And Jimmy Page on this record, he excels. Since I've Been Loving You, some of the greatest lead guitar playing from Jimmy Page ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. It's a manifesto, bro. It's a manifesto. It's a blueprint of what you have to do.
Exactly.
That's I was I mean I totally I was saying that is, you want to learn how to play a blues solo, there it is. Study that. I mean, it's
Well,
all there. Tone, execution, intensity, dynamics. It's perfection. Yeah.
I mean, you got guys like modern day blues artists like Joe Bonamassa, who still plays T for One, and he always talks about Page being like the dude, with the Les Paul, and he's got that tone, and I think he references him a lot, especially in that Black Country Communion band. He's playing a lot of Jimmy Page phrasing. You got bands like the Tea Party, who I'm a massive fan of.
Yeah,
And I'm a good friend of the band, and Jeff Martin is a massive Jimmy Page fan, and I've seen him playing like Since I've Been Loving You and whatnot, and it's just, the blueprint all comes from Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
You talk about Gary Moore, still got the blues. I don't think I've ever heard anyone knock Jimmy Page and not copy him. You know what I mean? Like most people that knock him don't even go anywhere near Led Zeppelin, but everyone has a love for Led Zeppelin, and all guitarists that are in that blues rock thing love Jimmy Page.
Yeah,
he's like the Godfather. He's like
exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So you can't go past this record. I'm sorry I missed the rankings. I won't bore everyone with them because they pretty much know most of mine will be 10s or above. So.
Well, look, I agree with you guys, and I think that's one of the great things about the ZoSo show, which we look forward to doing, Hack, and we'd love to get you back on more, because the subjects and the topics that we can talk about in relation to what Page has done, not only with Led Zeppelin but also in his solo careers and other groups, Page and Plant, that's coming up to an anniversary later. Again, the stuff that he did with the Black Crows, it's just there's so much there. But I think you're right, Brad. I think the Godfather. Well, certainly. Absolutely. He's in my top 3 guitarists of all time.
He's like the wizard. He's the wizard guy. He's the guy that would slay a song. He knew what to put on what parts of the songs, how much to put, how little to put. It didn't matter. And really, we need to give credit to Jimmy Page for a lot more than he gets credit for as well. I know he gets a lot of credit, but I think he deserves that and more in abundance.
Yeah, well, he is my favorite guitar player of all time.
Yep.
And like I said at the top of the show, the reason I'm not just looking at him as a guitar player. He's incredible, but also his compositional skills, his arrangements, his producing, his engineering. The guy's the entire package, right?
Yeah.
And you can tell when in a Zeppelin song, like, he's not just playing he's not just the guitar player. The guy's doing like soundscapes and stuff, and he's just and the tones that he's dialing in and stuff, and it's just the mix of sounds and whatever that sort of individually will sound really bad, but he just knows what how to paint in that color for that particular song, and it's incredible, man. It's just, the guy's a master, absolute master.
I want to do a shout out to that comment here by Kubrick Lover guys. Page and the documentary. It might get loud in here. Go and watch that, and just even a snippet of Page playing, and the Edge and Jack White are just sitting there, and their mouths are open. They just blow, and then you can see Jimmy Page. He's standing there, isn't he? And he's doing that. He's got that bottom lip of his pouting out, and he's just playing this Les Paul, and it's just like, my gosh,
the master.
Whole Lot of Love. Is it Whole Lot of Love or
I've seen the movie. I can't remember.
Whole Lot of Love. Yeah.
I saw Page and Plant twice when they came out to Sydney. So the first night and the third night they played at the Entertainment Centre and in Sydney and New South Wales, and both nights when they played Since I've Been Loving You, I couldn't help but bawl. I was bawling like a baby. It was just I was like the closest I would ever get to seeing Led Zeppelin, and it just, the power of the song, his guitar playing. He played it differently both nights. Wasn't identical. Obviously, he improvises. He's got his go-to licks and go-to things that he does. But, he was feeling the moment. I think Since I've Been Loving You went a little bit longer the second night. He was just one of those guys. He's like always on the edge of ready to come off the train tracks and never does. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. And I love that.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. wonderful, and I can't wait for us. Eventually when the ZoSo show gets to those albums, and Brad can share some more experiences about those gigs, because it's going to be fascinating to listen to, bro, because you're a guitar player, and that synthesis that you can offer from being a fan and transferring that knowledge into that guitar playing mode, I think offers a different perspective and a bit of credibility to the rankings that we do, guys. Showed in Hack, when Hack was jumping on board, he was talking about some of the keys where the songs were in, and where the choruses were and the keys. So that's important, guys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was just gonna say, when I listen to it, because I study the guy, and the riffs, you know what he's doing, right? And then you see, oh well, he used that idea on this other song later on, or like, because he has, there's motifs that he goes back to on certain things, because we talked about the Immigrant Song, the octave riff, right? He used that again on the Wonton song.
Yep.
That same idea, right? Just stuff like that. I mean, it's, you just start sort of identifying things that, different riffs and things that ideas he reuses. So, yeah.
The Sonic Architect, I used to call him, and I still do.
Oh yeah,
his recordings are sensational.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Every Zeppelin, Coverdale Page, The Firm, everything he's part of, especially when it comes to the production. He's he's a producer, he's a guitar player, he's a songwriter, he's everything.
Yeah, he is the whole package.
100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hack, it's been a pleasure for you to jump on the ZoSo show with us on our channel, bro, and catching up with us. It's been a long time. Like I said to you guys in the intro, and if you guys are watching a replay, Hack has been a good friend of our channel right back in the olden days when we first started our channels up. So we're happy to bounce off each other, and I'll include Hack's video reference to his album rankings that he mentioned on this video. So if you guys want to go and check that out, I'll edit that on here. Go and subscribe to Hack, please. Hack, I don't think I've put you in our community page. I will do that after this. I'll add your channel to our community page, because we always want people, when they come and watch our shows, to go there and subscribe to everybody on that community page. They're all our friends. It's all about helping each other, isn't it, Brad? That's what we do here on this channel, bro.
100%. 100%. We're all family.
That's it, bro. Good to see you, though, man. Good to see you, bro.
No, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And again, I keep saying it, but I've the last probably 24 hours, I've had 20 odd messages from people. Just thank you. That's all I can say. I can't say much more than that. Thank you. So much love. It's great. Awesome.
Well, I'm going to be back later, guys, with the Rock Professor. We're going to be talking about Beck-Ola, Jeff Beck's album. Look forward to that. I'm going to take the back seat in that one. I'm going to hand it over to the Rock Professor. I'm just going to give a score. That's it. I've done enough work.
Can I mention one? Can I mention one thing? If anybody in here is a Queen fan, May 25th, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm doing a show on Queen. We're ranking our top 5 Queen records with myself, Martin Popoff, and Pete Pardo. So check out the Queen show, May 25th.
Send me the link, bro. Send me the link, and we'll put that on here, because we don't forget where we came from, Hack. We don't forget. So we appreciate the support you've given us, and that's something that we want to do for you, bro.
Appreciate you having me on, and because my weekends are real busy, so this was a free one, so it worked out beautifully. Yeah,
awesome. Come back, bro. Come back and talk some more. We'll always make room to talk Led Zeppelin, won't we, Brad?
100%. 100%.
I got always time to talk about Jimmy and Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to say thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for watching and giving us comments. I'll put all these links into this video. If you're watching our replay, please go and do everything that we've asked you to do. That would be really helpful. Help Hack out. Go and check out his videos. I'm going to ask Brad to say a couple of words, and then Hack, because you're our guest, you can sign off for everybody. Brad.
Oh, look, thanks for getting me on in the last tail end of this episode, Andrew and Hack. But I just wanted to jump on and say it was a great show. And, I love Led Zeppelin and ZoSo show just as much as you guys. So, obviously I'm sporting the shirt. So
I love that T-shirt, bro. I have to get that. I have to get one. Oh, I love it.
I get funny looks when it's out everywhere, unless I'm going to see a band. It's because...
then people get it. Heck.
Well, thanks for having me on. Thanks everybody for watching. You guys rock. Check out the Queen show May 25th. Support Andrew. He's a good dude. We go way, way back, 4 years. Yeah, we're growing our way through this YouTube world here, so it's really very cool. Good to see you doing well, Andrew. You're kicking ass, buddy.
Well, bro. You run a channel, and I've got to make it clear that it's a collective effort. The Rock Professor and I, we started it with Carl. Brad came on. We went up. We jumped up, and he took us over here, and once you get to 1,000 subs, obviously things happen with YouTube. And if you got good content, obviously YouTube push that. But there's a couple of things that you got to do. You got to have good content and have good hosts and good subjects. And I think we do that, and we have lots of good people in our chat too, Hack, sharing our channel and contributing. So it belongs to everybody. Our success is obviously truly a community effort, Hack.
Yeah. I like to thanks, John. John Z3 351. Thanks for that. That was nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, we're out of here, guys. We'll see you guys later.
Good night. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.